What would you do if you had billions of dollars but couldn't save the one person you love most? Today, I'm going to tell you about a father who learned that terrible truth the hard way, and about a homeless kid with torn shoes and empty pockets who proved that miracles don't need money. They just need heart. This story will change how you see the world forever. Welcome to Voice of Granny. While you are here, please hit the subscribe button and comment where you're watching from. Let me tell you a story that will change the way you think about life forever. It's about a father who had more money than he could ever spend, but couldn't save the person he loved most in this world. And it's about a kid with holes in his shoes who proved that miracles don't need bank accounts. They just need heart. Picture this. It's almost midnight in downtown Chicago. Up on the 40th floor of a glass skyscraper, a man named James Carter sits alone in his office. Computer screens glow around him, showing numbers that keep going up and up. His hotels, his restaurants, his buildings. Every second, he's making more money than most people see in a year. James Carter. That's a name everybody in Chicago knows. When he walks into a room, people stop talking. When he speaks, everybody listens. He owns half the city, they say. The man who turned everything he touched into gold. But that night, none of it mattered. The phone rings. It's the kind of ring that makes your stomach drop, you know? The kind that comes in the middle of the night when something's terribly wrong. James grabs it. Hello. His assistant's voice comes through, shaking, crying. Mr. Carter, you need to come home right now. It's Ethan. He collapsed. The ambulance is here. Please hurry. Ethan. His 12-year-old son. His only child. His whole world. James doesn't remember hanging up. He doesn't remember running to the elevator or getting into his car. All he knows is that he's driving faster than he's ever driven, running red lights, his hands gripping the steering wheel so tight his knuckles turn white. Please, he whispers to nobody. Please let him be okay. When he pulls up to his mansion in the suburbs, there are already 3 ambulances outside. Doctors are rushing in and out. These aren't regular doctors. These are the best in the world. James had called them the second he got the news. He flew 2 of them in on his private jet from New York. Money was no object. It never was. But when he runs inside and sees their faces, he knows. Something is very, very wrong. Ethan's bedroom looks like a hospital room now. Machines everywhere. Wires connected to his son's small body. Beeping sounds fill the air. And there, in the middle of that huge bed, Ethan lies still. His skin is pale, almost gray. His lips have a blue tint to them. He looks so small, so fragile. What's wrong with him? James grabs the head doctor by his white coat. His voice cracks. Fix him. I don't care what it costs. Do you hear me? I'll pay anything. The doctors look at each other. Nobody wants to speak. Finally, the oldest one steps forward. His name tag says Dr. Reynolds. Mr. Carter, he says quietly. Your son has an extremely rare condition. We've run every test. We've consulted with specialists from around the world. His immune system is attacking his own body. It's shutting down his organs one by one. Then give him medicine, James shouts. Do surgery. There has to be something. Dr. Reynolds takes a deep breath. Sir, there's no known cure. We've tried everything we can think of. I'm sorry. Your son has maybe 3 days. Possibly less. The room goes silent except for those machines. Beep, beep, beep. James feels his legs give out. He falls to his knees beside Ethan's bed and grabs his son's cold hand. No, he whispers. No, this can't be happening. This can't be real. For the first time in his powerful life, James Carter feels completely helpless. He can buy anything in the world. Anything except more time for his boy. Ethan's eyes flutter open. They're blue like the ocean, but so tired. So incredibly tired. Dad! His voice is barely there. Am I dying? James can't find words. Tears stream down his face. He hasn't cried since he was a child himself. I don't want to die, Dad. Ethan's voice breaks. I'm scared. You won't, James lies, holding his son's hand tighter. I promise you won't. I won't let you. But what good are promises when death is knocking at the door? That night, the mansion that's usually filled with music and people becomes silent as a tomb. The staff walks around crying. James's business partners cancel all his meetings. News vans gather outside the tall gates, their cameras rolling. Billionaire's son given days to live, the headline reads. Inside, James sits frozen in a chair next to Ethan's bed. He watches his son breathe. In and out. In and out. Each breath seems harder than the last. The clock on the wall ticks loudly. Every second feels like torture. James looks around at his expensive things. The paintings worth millions. The crystal chandelier hanging from the ceiling. The furniture shipped from Italy. What good is any of it now? He would burn it all, every last piece, if it could save Ethan. But money can't save his son. And for the first time, James understands something that breaks him. Wealth means nothing when you're losing the person you love most. Meanwhile, across town in a completely different world, someone else is about to hear Ethan's story. His name is Tommy. Tommy doesn't live in a mansion. He doesn't even live in a house. He sleeps in an old shelter downtown when there's space, or under the highway bridge when there isn't. He's 11 years old, skinny as a rail, with messy blonde hair and clothes that are more holes than fabric. Tommy has no parents. They died in a car accident when he was 6. No family took him in. He's been on his own ever since, surviving any way he can. He sells bottles and cans for recycling. He helps people carry their groceries. Sometimes he plays his harmonica on street corners, and kind people drop change in his cup. On good days, he makes enough for one meal. On bad days, he goes to sleep hungry. But here's the thing about Tommy. He never stops smiling. Even when older kids steal his money, he smiles. Even when people shout at him to get out of their way, he smiles. Even when it's freezing cold and he's shivering under his thin blanket, he smiles. Why? Because Tommy believes in something most people stop believing in when they grow up. He believes in magic. Not the fairy tale kind. The real kind. The kind where good things happen to good people. Where kindness matters more than money. Where impossible things become possible if you believe hard enough. Other street kids think he's crazy. Wake up, Tommy, they say. Life is hard. There's no magic. There's just surviving. But Tommy doesn't listen. He finds old books in trash cans and reads them by streetlight. Books about heroes. About ordinary people doing extraordinary things. Those stories keep him going. One evening, Tommy sits at Maria's diner, a little place on the corner of 5th and Main. Maria, the owner, is an old woman with kind eyes and gray hair pulled back in a bun. She sometimes gives Tommy free soup in a chipped bowl. "Here you go, sweetheart," she says, placing the warm bowl in front of him. "Thank you, Miss Maria." Tommy smiles that big smile of his. As Tommy eats, 2 men at the next table are talking loud enough for him to hear. "Did you hear about James Carter's kid?" one man says. "Yeah, terrible thing," the other replies. "The boy's dying. Only has 3 days left. Even with all that money, his father can't do a damn thing to save him." Tommy's spoon stops halfway to his mouth. "Dying? A boy. How old is he?" Tommy asks suddenly. The men turn, surprised a street kid is talking to them. 12, I think, one says. "Why do you care?" Tommy doesn't answer. His mind is spinning. Somewhere in a huge mansion, a boy almost his age is lying in bed waiting to die. A boy who probably has everything. Every toy, every game, every comfort. But none of it can save him. Tommy feels something strange in his chest. Like a pull. Like an invisible rope connecting him to this boy he's never met. "If only I could help," Tommy whispers. Maria hears him. She puts her wrinkled hand on his shoulder. "Sweet boy, you have the biggest heart I've ever seen. But some things are beyond any of us." Tommy looks up at her with serious eyes. "Miss Maria, do you believe in miracles?" She smiles sadly. "I used to when I was young like you." "Well, I still do," Tommy says firmly. He stands up, leaving his half-finished soup. "And I think that boy needs one." "Where are you going?" Maria calls after him. But Tommy is already running out the door into the night. His bare feet slap against the wet pavement. He doesn't know how. He doesn't know why. But something inside him, something powerful and sure, tells him he has to find Ethan Carter. Somehow, some way, a poor street kid with nothing is going to save a rich boy who has everything. The impossible is about to become possible. And Tommy is ready to fight for it with everything he has. The next morning, Tommy stands outside Chicago Memorial Hospital. It's one of those buildings that makes you feel small just looking at it. 20 stories of glass and steel, gleaming in the sunlight. This is where rich people come when they're sick. People like Ethan Carter. Security guards in black suits stand at every entrance. They look serious, strong, like they could snap Tommy in half without even trying. Tommy knows they'll never let a street kid inside. But Tommy has been invisible his whole life. He knows how to slip into places where he doesn't belong. He waits and watches. When a delivery truck pulls up with food supplies, Tommy sees his chance. He ducks behind the truck, staying low. When the guards turn to check the driver's paperwork, Tommy slips through the automatic doors. Inside, the hospital is like another world. Everything is clean and white and shiny. The floors reflect the ceiling lights. Nurses in crisp uniforms walk quickly, their shoes squeaking. The smell of disinfectant fills the air. Tommy feels completely out of place with his torn clothes and dirty face, but he keeps moving. He stops a janitor pushing a cart. "Excuse me, sir. Where's Ethan Carter's room?" The janitor looks him up and down suspiciously. "Top floor." "But kid, you can't just." Tommy is already gone, running toward the stairwell. He can't take the elevator. Too many people would see him and ask questions. So he climbs. 10 flights of stairs. His legs burn. His lungs ache. But he keeps going. Finally, he reaches the top floor. And there it is. Room 1012. 2 more guards stand outside the door, arms crossed. Tommy's heart pounds. How is he going to get past them? Then he notices something. A cart with food trays sitting in the hallway. And hanging on a hook nearby, a white medical coat. Without thinking, Tommy grabs the coat and puts it on. It's huge on him, hanging down to his ankles. He pushes the food cart toward Ethan's room, keeping his head down. "Breakfast delivery," Tommy mumbles in the deepest voice he can manage. The guards barely glance at him. One of them opens the door. Tommy pushes the cart inside. And there he is, Ethan Carter. The room is enormous, like a hotel suite. But Tommy only sees the bed in the center. Machines surround it, tubes and wires everywhere. And in the middle of all that technology, looking tiny and fragile, is a boy with brown hair and pale skin. Ethan looks worse than Tommy imagined. His skin is gray. Dark circles shadow his eyes. His chest barely moves when he breathes. The machine beside him beeps steadily, counting his heartbeats. Tommy stands frozen in the doorway. Ethan's eyes open slowly. They're blue and beautiful, but so tired. He looks at Tommy, confused. Who are you?" His voice is barely a whisper. Tommy swallows hard. "I'm Tommy. I came to help you." Ethan tries to laugh, but it comes out as a weak cough. "Help me? The best doctors in the world can't help me. What can you do?" Tommy walks closer. Up close, he can see that Ethan is just like him. Just a scared kid who doesn't want to die. "I don't know yet," Tommy admits honestly. "But I couldn't just do nothing." For a moment, they just stare at each other. 2 boys from completely different worlds, feeling the same fear. "What's it like?" Ethan asks suddenly. "What?" "Living on the streets. I can tell from your clothes. You don't have a home, do you?" Tommy shakes his head. "No, but it's not all bad. I get to see the sunrise every morning. I'm free. I meet interesting people every day." "I've never seen a real sunrise," Ethan says sadly. "I've always been too busy. Private tutors at 6 in the morning. Music lessons. Language classes. Business meetings with my dad. I have everything, but I've never really lived." "And I have nothing," Tommy says softly. "But I live every single day like it's an adventure." They both smile at the strange irony of it. Then Ethan's smile fades. "I'm going to die, Tommy. In 3 days. Maybe less." "No," Tommy says firmly. "You're not." "How do you know?" "Because I won't let you." Tommy grabs Ethan's hand. It's cold and weak, but Tommy holds it tight. "I promise you, Ethan. I'm going to find a way to save you." Ethan's eyes fill with tears. "That's impossible." "I believe in impossible things," Tommy says with that bright smile of his. "And starting right now, you're going to believe too." For the first time in days, Ethan feels something he thought he'd lost forever. Hope. But then the door slams open. James Carter storms in, followed by the 2 guards. "Who are you?" James demands, staring at this strange boy in an oversized coat. "How did you get in here?" Tommy stands up straight, even though his knees are shaking. "My name is Tommy, sir. I came to help your son." "Help him?" James's voice is sharp with anger and pain. "Are you a doctor? A specialist?" "No, sir. I'm just me." James's face turns red. "Guards, remove this child immediately." "Wait!" Ethan cries out from the bed. "Dad, please. He's my friend." "Friend?" James looks shocked. "You just met him." "I know," Ethan says, his voice getting a little stronger. "But he's the first person who didn't look at me like I'm already dead. Please let him stay." James looks at his son, then at Tommy. He sees something in Tommy's eyes. Something pure. Finally, he sighs. "Fine. But don't give my son false hope. Hope can hurt worse than the truth." Tommy meets James's eyes without fear. What if hope is the truth? James doesn't answer. He just turns and leaves the room, closing the door behind him. That night, Tommy sneaks out of the hospital. He has to. The guards are watching too closely now. But he made a promise. And Tommy always keeps his promises. He walks through the dark streets of Chicago, thinking hard. Where can he find a cure that doctors can't? How can he save Ethan? Then he remembers something. A story Miss Maria told him once about old healers who lived far from the city. Healers who used plants and natural medicines instead of pills and machines. Healers who knew secrets that modern doctors forgot long ago. That's it, Tommy whispers to himself. The next morning, before the sun comes up, Tommy leaves Chicago. He has no money for a bus or train, so he walks. He follows the highway out of the city, then takes smaller roads heading north toward the forests of Wisconsin. He walks for hours. His feet hurt. His stomach growls with hunger. But he can't stop. He asks everyone he meets the same question. Do you know any old healers? People who cure sicknesses with plants. Most people shake their heads. Some laugh. Healers? That's just superstition, kid. Go to a hospital. But Tommy keeps asking. Keeps walking. After walking all day and sleeping under a tree that night, he reaches a tiny town at the edge of a dark forest. The people here are different. They wear simple clothes and live in small wooden houses. There's no McDonald's, no Starbucks. Just a small general store and a gas station. An old man sits outside the store on a rocking chair. He watches Tommy limp into town. You look lost, son, the old man says. I'm looking for a healer, Tommy says, breathing hard. Someone who knows about rare sicknesses. Someone who can do what doctors can't. The old man's eyes grow serious. There is one. Deep in the forest. People call him Old Samuel. But the journey is dangerous, and he doesn't help just anyone. Please, Tommy begs. My friend is dying. I have one day left to save him. The old man studies Tommy's face. He sees something there. Something true and good. Follow the creek into the forest. Walk until you hear the waterfall. Old Samuel's cabin is there. But be warned, son. He'll test your heart before he helps you. Tommy doesn't waste a second. He runs toward the forest. The trees are thick and tall, blocking out most of the sunlight. Strange sounds echo around him. Birds. Insects. Animals he can't name. A creek runs beside him, gurgling over rocks, leading him deeper and deeper into the wilderness. His legs scream with pain. Branches scratch his arms and face. He trips over roots and falls into the mud. But every time he falls, he gets back up. For Ethan, he whispers to himself. For Ethan. Finally, after hours of walking, he hears it. The sound of water crashing down rocks. A waterfall. And there, hidden behind the falling water in a small clearing, is a tiny cabin made of logs and stones. Smoke rises from its chimney. Tommy climbs over slippery rocks and knocks on the wooden door. It opens slowly. An old man stands there, but he's not like any old man Tommy has ever seen. His eyes are sharp and bright, like he can see right into your soul. His long white beard reaches his chest. Strange plants hang from the ceiling behind him, and the air smells like earth and flowers and something ancient. Why have you come, boy? Old Samuel asks. His voice is deep and strong. Tommy falls to his knees, exhausted and desperate. Please, sir. My friend is dying. He has one day left. The doctors gave up, but I can't. I won't. Please, if you know anything, any cure at all, please help me. Old Samuel stares at him for a long, long time. Then he asks a question that Tommy doesn't expect. This friend of yours, is he rich? Very, Tommy says honestly. And you are poor. Very, Tommy says again. So why do you care? What will you gain by saving him? Tommy looks up, confused by the question. Gain? Nothing, sir. I can't watch him die when maybe, just maybe, I can do something. Old Samuel's face softens. He disappears into his cabin and returns holding a small leather pouch. Inside are dried leaves that seem to glow faintly, like they hold tiny pieces of starlight. This is called moonleaf, Old Samuel says. It blooms once every 10 years in the deepest part of this forest. It can cure almost any illness. He pauses. But it only works if given with a pure heart. If your intentions are selfish in any way, it becomes poison. Tommy takes the pouch carefully, holding it like it's the most precious thing in the world. My heart is pure, sir. I promise. Then go, boy. Run. Your friend has very little time left. Tommy doesn't waste breath saying thank you. There's no time. He turns and runs back through the forest, faster than he's ever run before. The sun is setting. Ethan has hours left, maybe less. Tommy's body screams for rest, but his heart pushes him forward. He runs through the night, through the forest, past the small town, back toward the highway, back toward Chicago. The lights of the city appear in the distance, just as the sun begins to rise on the third day. Tommy runs harder. He's coming, Ethan. He's coming. Tommy's feet are bleeding inside his old sneakers. Every step sends pain shooting up his legs. His lungs burn like fire. But he can see the hospital now, just 5 blocks away. He pushes through the morning crowd of people heading to work. They jump out of his way, staring at this wild-looking boy covered in mud and scratches, running like his life depends on it. Move. Please move. Tommy shouts. When he reaches Chicago Memorial Hospital, the guards at the entrance recognize him immediately. Hey, you're not allowed. But Tommy is too fast. He ducks under their reaching arms and sprints straight for the stairwell. Behind him, he hears shouting and heavy footsteps chasing him. He doesn't look back. He just runs. Up the stairs. His legs feel like rubber. His vision blurs. But he keeps climbing. 8th floor. 9th floor. 10. He bursts through the door of room 1012, and his heart almost stops. Ethan isn't moving. Doctors and nurses surround his bed, working frantically. Machines beep wildly, making horrible sounds. One of the doctors is doing chest compressions. Another is preparing a needle. The scene is chaos. James stands in the corner, his face buried in his hands, his whole body shaking with sobs. No, no, no! Tommy screams. I'm here. I found it. Everyone turns to stare at him. A nurse tries to grab him. Security. Get this child out of here. Wait. Tommy holds up the leather pouch. Please. This can save him. That's enough. James's voice cracks with anguish. Don't torture me with fairy tales. My son is. He's not dead yet. Tommy shouts with everything he has. Please, Mr. Carter. Please just let me try. What do you have to lose? What do you have to lose? James looks at Ethan's still body, then at Tommy's desperate face, then at the small pouch glowing faintly in the morning light. For a moment, nobody moves. Time seems to freeze. Then James says quietly, Everyone out. Sir, this is highly irregular, Dr. Reynolds protests. We need to. I said out. James roars with a fury nobody has ever heard from him before. All of you. Now. The doctors and nurses exchange worried glances, but they leave. The door closes. Only James, Tommy, and Ethan remain in the room. Tommy rushes to Ethan's bedside. His friend's lips are blue. His chest barely moves. His skin is cold as ice. With shaking hands, Tommy opens the leather pouch. The moonleaf smells like rain and honey and something magical. He crushes the glowing leaves in a cup of water and stirs. The water turns silver, shimmering like liquid starlight. Ethan, Tommy whispers, tears streaming down his face. Remember what we talked about? About impossible things? You have to fight. Please fight. He carefully lifts Ethan's head and pours the glowing liquid between his lips. 1 drop. 2 drops. 3. Nothing happens. The room is silent except for the terrible beeping of the machines. Tommy holds Ethan's hand tightly. Come on, buddy. Come back. The sunrise is waiting for you. Real sunrises. Beautiful ones. I'll show you everything. The lake at dawn. The stars at midnight. Everything. Just come back. Please come back. Still nothing. James collapses into a chair, his face in his hands. It's over, he whispers. He's gone. No. Tommy refuses to accept it. He leans close to Ethan's ear. You're my first real friend, Ethan. My only friend. You can't leave me. You can't. We were supposed to watch the sunrise together, remember? You promised. Then Ethan coughs. It's tiny. Weak. But it's there. Tommy's eyes go wide. Ethan. Ethan coughs again, stronger this time. His chest rises and falls. Color slowly returns to his cheeks, starting from his nose and spreading outward like watercolor paint on paper. It's working, Tommy breathes. It's working. James jumps up. Ethan. Son. Can you hear me? Ethan's eyelids flutter. Slowly, so slowly they open. Those blue eyes look around, confused but alive. Really alive. Dad. His voice is scratchy but real. Tommy. What? What happened? Tommy starts laughing and crying at the same time. He hugs Ethan tightly. You're okay. You're really okay. James falls to his knees beside the bed, grabbing his son's other hand. The doctors said they said you were. He can't finish the sentence. He just holds his son and cries. The doctors rush back in, alerted by the sudden change in the machine readings. Their faces show complete shock and disbelief. They check Ethan's pulse, his breathing, his blood pressure. They shine lights in his eyes. Run quick tests. Their expressions change from confusion to amazement. "This is impossible," Dr. Reynolds whispers. His vitals are completely normal. His breathing is clear. There's no trace of the illness whatsoever. It's just gone. Gone. James asks, afraid to believe it. "Are you sure?" "I don't understand it," Dr. Reynolds says, shaking his head. "But yes, it appears to be completely gone. He's healthy. Perfectly healthy." The room erupts. Nurses hug each other. James holds Ethan and sobs with relief. And Tommy sits on the floor, exhausted, his mission complete. The miracle has happened. For the next 2 days, Ethan grows stronger. He can sit up, then walk around the room, then laugh and joke like a normal kid. The news spreads across the country. Billionaire's son makes miraculous recovery. Dying boy saved by mystery cure. The hospital is swarmed with reporters. But while everyone celebrates, trouble is brewing in the shadows. Late one night, in a dark office building across town, 3 men in expensive suits gather around a conference table. "The boy survived," one man says angrily. "His name is Victor Kane, James Carter's biggest business rival. If Ethan lives, Carter's empire stays strong. Our plan to take over his companies is ruined." "What about the street kid?" another man asks. "He's the one who brought the cure." Victor's eyes narrow with cold calculation. "Then we make the street kid disappear. If the boy gets sick again and the cure is gone, nature will take its course. Problem solved." They don't know that one of James's housekeepers, a woman named Rosa who was delivering clean linens to the building, heard everything through the thin walls. She runs straight back to the Carter mansion to warn them. The next morning, James calls Tommy into his study. Ethan is there too, looking healthier and happier than he's been in months. "Tommy," James says seriously, "I've learned that some very dangerous people want to hurt you. They see you as a threat to their business plans." Tommy's eyes widen. "Hurt me? But I just wanted to help." "I know, son." James puts his hand on Tommy's shoulder. "That's why I want you to stay here. In this house. You'll be safe. Protected." He pauses, his voice getting emotional. "And you'll be family. My family." Tommy looks at Ethan, who's grinning from ear to ear. "Please stay, Tommy. You're my best friend. My brother." But before Tommy can answer, the lights go out. Glass shatters somewhere downstairs. Men shout. Heavy footsteps pound up the marble staircase. "They're here," James yells. "Security." The door to the study bursts open. 5 men in black masks rush in, reaching for Tommy. But James's security team is ready. They fight hard, pushing the attackers back. The room becomes chaos. Furniture crashes. People struggle. In the confusion, one masked man grabs Tommy by the arm. "You're coming with us, street rat." "No," Ethan screams. But then something amazing happens. From everywhere in the house, people start appearing. The cooks, the gardeners, the housekeepers, the drivers, all the staff who've gotten to know Tommy over the past 2 days. And they're not alone. Miss Maria from the diner is there too, along with neighbors from Tommy's old neighborhood. They heard about the danger and came to help. "You don't touch our Tommy," Maria shouts, swinging her walking cane at the masked men. The attackers are overwhelmed. They weren't expecting an army of ordinary people armed with brooms and pans and fierce loyalty. Within minutes, they're tied up with curtain cords and telephone wires. Police sirens wail outside. As officers take the criminals away, they pull off the masks. Victor Kane is among them, his face twisted with rage and hatred. "You can't win, Carter," Victor shouts as the police drag him toward the door. "Money always wins." "Always." James looks at Tommy, then at all the ordinary people who came to protect a homeless boy. He smiles for the first time in days. "You're wrong, Victor. Love wins. Every single time." 1 week later, Ethan stands on the mansion's back balcony, watching his first real sunrise with Tommy beside him. The sky transforms slowly, like a painting coming to life. Deep purple fades to soft pink. Pink melts into orange. Orange explodes into gold. Birds sing their morning songs. The world feels brand new. "It's beautiful," Ethan whispers, his voice full of wonder. "Told you," Tommy grins. "And it's free. Happens every single morning, and you don't need a single penny to see it." Behind them, James watches his son. really watches him. Ethan is alive, laughing, learning what truly matters. James has already made big changes in his life. He's decided that half his fortune will go to building schools and community centers for kids like Tommy. Kids who deserve a chance. He's hired Miss Maria to run a program that feeds hungry children. He started a foundation to help homeless families find homes. And Tommy is officially part of the Carter family now. Adopted. Loved. Home. You know what the craziest part is? Ethan says to Tommy, "You had nothing. I had everything. But you saved me." Tommy shrugs. "That's because the best things in life are free. Courage is free. Kindness is free. Hope is free. And love." He looks at James and Ethan. Love doesn't cost a thing. James comes and puts his arms around both boys. "I spent my whole life thinking money was power. That's what my father taught me. That's what the world teaches everyone. But you taught me something different, Tommy. Real power is in here." He touches his chest, right over his heart. "That's a treasure everyone can have, rich or poor. Young or old. It doesn't matter who you are. So what do we do now?" Ethan asks, excitement in his voice. Tommy's eyes sparkle with that old mischief, the look that says adventure is coming. Now we help other people. We share what we learned. We show the world that miracles are real when people care about each other. And that's exactly what they do. Over the next months, Tommy and Ethan become inseparable. They go to the same school. They volunteer at homeless shelters together. They visit children's hospitals, bringing hope and joy to kids who are sick. Ethan teaches Tommy about business and numbers and all the things he learned from his expensive tutors. Tommy teaches Ethan about life and laughter and how to find joy in simple things. James watches his son transform. Ethan isn't that lonely, sheltered boy anymore. He's confident, kind, genuinely happy. And it's all because a homeless kid refused to give up on him. One day, a reporter comes to interview them. She wants to know about the miracle cure, about how a street kid saved a billionaire's son. "Tommy," she asks, "why did you do it? You didn't know Ethan. You had nothing to gain. Why risk everything for a stranger?" Tommy thinks about the question. Then he says something simple but profound. "Because that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to help each other. Rich or poor, it doesn't matter. We're all just people trying to make it through life. And life is hard enough without doing it alone." The interview goes viral. Millions of people watch it. Tommy's words spark something in people's hearts. A movement starts. People begin helping each other more. Strangers performing random acts of kindness. Communities coming together. All because a boy with nothing showed everyone what really matters. But the story isn't over yet. There's one more lesson to learn. 6 months after Ethan's recovery, James receives a phone call from a hospital in Los Angeles. A young girl has the same rare illness that almost killed Ethan. The doctors are desperate. They heard about the miracle cure. "Is there any way to get more of that medicine?" James looks at Tommy. "Can you find old Samuel again? Can you get more Moonleaf?" Tommy nods immediately. "We have to try." "We?" James asks. "Yeah." Tommy looks at Ethan. "We're doing this together." So the three of them make the journey. James drives them north in a regular car, not his fancy limousine. They drive through the city, past the suburbs, into the countryside, all the way to that little town at the edge of the forest. The old man is still there, rocking on his chair outside the general store. "You came back," he says to Tommy with a knowing smile. "Someone else needs help," Tommy explains. "A little girl. She has the same sickness Ethan had." The old man nods. "Old Samuel will remember you. Follow the creek like before." This time, they all walk together. James, who hasn't hiked in 20 years, struggles through the forest. His expensive shoes get muddy. Branches tear his designer jacket. But he doesn't complain. He's learning. When they reach the cabin behind the waterfall, old Samuel opens the door before they even knock. He looks at Tommy, then at Ethan standing healthy and strong, then at James. "You're the rich father," old Samuel says. "Yes, sir," James replies humbly. "And you want more medicine?" "Please," James says. "A child is dying. I'll pay whatever you ask. Name your price." Old Samuel's eyes narrow. That's the problem with rich men. You think everything has a price. He looks at Tommy. The boy understands. "Do you?" James is confused. Tommy steps forward. "It's not about money, Mr. Carter," Tommy says gently. "Old Samuel gave me the medicine because my heart was pure. Because I wasn't doing it for money or reward. That's what makes it work." Understanding dawns on James's face. "You're right. I'm sorry. I'm not asking as a businessman. I'm asking as a father who knows what it's like to almost lose a child. I'm asking as a human being who wants to help another human being. Not for money. Not for fame. Just because it's the right thing to do. Old Samuel studies James for a long moment. Then he nods. You're learning. Good. He disappears into his cabin and returns with another small pouch. The girl's name is Sophia. She's 8 years old. She lives in Los Angeles with her mother, who cleans houses for a living. They have no money. No insurance. No hope. How did you? James starts to ask, but old Samuel just smiles. Give this to the child. But remember, it only works with a pure heart. James takes the pouch carefully. Thank you. How can I repay you? Live differently, old Samuel says simply. Keep learning. Keep changing. That's payment enough. They make the journey back to Chicago, then immediately fly to Los Angeles. They find Sophia in a rundown hospital in a poor neighborhood. Her mother, Maria Garcia, sits beside her bed, holding her tiny hand. Sophia looks so small, so fragile, with the same gray skin and blue lips that Ethan had. Maria looks up when they enter, confused by these strangers. Who are you? She asks in accented English. We're here to help, Tommy says softly. He approaches Sophia's bed. Hi, Sophia. My name is Tommy. This is my friend Ethan. He was sick just like you. But he got better. And you're going to get better too. Sophia's eyes flutter open. She's too weak to speak, but she looks at Tommy with hope. Tommy prepares the moonleaf just like before. He gives it to Sophia while Ethan holds her other hand and James stands beside Maria, offering silent support. At first, nothing happens. The machines continue their steady beeping. Maria starts to cry, thinking they've failed. But then Sophia coughs. Color returns to her cheeks. Her breathing becomes stronger, deeper. Within minutes, she's sitting up, looking around with wonder. Mama, she whispers. Me Nina. Maria sobs, hugging her daughter tightly. My baby. The doctors come running, shocked by another impossible recovery. They run tests, take blood samples, check everything. Sophia is completely healthy. The illness is gone, like it was never there. Maria turns to James, Tommy, and Ethan with tears streaming down her face. How can I ever repay you? I have nothing. I can't afford. You don't owe us anything, James says gently. This is a gift. From one parent to another. But why? Maria asks. You don't know us. Why would you help us? Tommy smiles. Because that's what people do. They help each other. News of Sophia's recovery spreads just like Ethan's did. But this time, the story is different. It's not just about a billionaire's son. It's about a rich man who learned to care about a poor girl he'd never met. It's about a former street kid who started a movement of compassion. James Carter's life changes in ways he never imagined. He starts spending less time in his office and more time with people. Real people. He visits homeless shelters and actually talks to the people there, learning their stories. He funds medical research for rare diseases. He builds affordable housing. He creates job training programs. But more importantly, he becomes a real father to both his sons. Yes, both of them. Because Tommy isn't just legally adopted now. He's family in every way that matters. One evening, a year after Ethan's recovery, the whole family sits together in the mansion's living room. But it's different now. The room isn't full of expensive art anymore. It's full of photos. Pictures of Tommy and Ethan at school. Pictures of them volunteering at the shelter. Pictures of James playing catch with them in the backyard. Pictures of a family that's real. Miss Maria is there too. She's become like a grandmother to the boys. And Rosa, the housekeeper who warned them about Victor Kane, sits with them like family because that's what she is now. I have something to tell you all, James says. There's a nervousness in his voice. I've made a decision about the company. Everyone looks at him. I'm stepping back, James continues. Not completely, but mostly. I'm hiring good people to run things. People I trust. Because I realized something. I spent 30 years building an empire, but I almost lost what really mattered. He looks at Ethan. I almost lost my son because I was too busy making money to notice he was lonely. Too busy to take him to see a sunrise. Dad, Ethan starts, but James holds up his hand. Let me finish. Tommy taught me that the richest people aren't the ones with the most money. They're the ones with the most love. The most friends. The most purpose. So I'm choosing to be rich in the ways that actually matter. Tommy smiles that big smile of his. That's beautiful, Mr. Carter. Please, James says. Call me Dad. Tommy's eyes fill with tears. He's called him Mr. Carter for a year, afraid to assume too much. Dad, he says, and the word feels like home. They spend the evening talking and laughing. Miss Maria tells stories about Tommy as a little boy, always helping others even when he had nothing. Rosa shares funny moments from working in the mansion. Ethan talks about his plans to become a doctor someday, to help sick kids like he was. Later that night, after everyone else has gone to bed, Tommy and Ethan sit on the balcony under the stars. Do you ever think about it? Ethan asks. About how crazy all this is. A year ago, I was dying. You were homeless. And now we're brothers. I think about it all the time, Tommy says. Sometimes I wake up thinking it's all a dream. That I'll be back under that bridge, cold and hungry. But you're not, Ethan says firmly. You're here. You're home. You're my brother. You're my brother too, Tommy says. You know what's funny? When I first heard about you, I thought you had everything and I had nothing. But we were both missing the same thing. What's that? Family. Connection. Someone who really cared about us, not because they had to, but because they wanted to. Tommy looks at the stars. Money can buy a lot of things, but it can't buy what we have now. What do we have? Each other, Tommy says simply. The next morning, James makes an announcement to the media. He's creating the Moonleaf Foundation, dedicated to finding cures for rare diseases and helping families who can't afford treatment. But more than that, he's starting a program to help homeless children, to give kids like Tommy a real chance at life. I learned something this past year, James tells the reporters. I learned that the measure of a person isn't how much they have. It's how much they give. It's not about what you own. It's about who you help. And the greatest treasure in life isn't something you can deposit in a bank. It's the love you share, the lives you touch, the difference you make. The reporters ask questions. They want to know about the miracle cure, about old Samuel, about everything. But James keeps it simple. A boy with nothing saved my son who had everything. That's all you need to know. And now we're all going to live like Tommy taught us to live. With open hearts and open hands. Months turn into years. Tommy and Ethan grow up together. They graduate high school together, both giving speeches about hope and compassion. They go to college together, studying medicine and social work. They never forget where they came from. Ethan remembers what it was like to be helpless, dying, with all the money in the world unable to save him. It makes him a compassionate doctor who treats every patient like family. Tommy remembers what it was like to be homeless, invisible, forgotten. It makes him a fierce advocate for people who have no voice. And James? James becomes known not as the richest man in Chicago, but as the man who gave it all away. He keeps enough to live comfortably, but the rest goes to helping others. Hospitals, schools, shelters, programs that change lives. One day, 10 years after that miraculous night, James sits on a park bench watching Tommy and Ethan play with a group of kids at a community center they built together. The kids come from all backgrounds. Rich and poor playing together, laughing together. Miss Maria sits down beside him. She's older now, her hair completely white, but her eyes still sparkle. You did good, James, she says. I almost lost everything, James replies quietly. If Tommy hadn't shown up that night, if he hadn't believed in miracles, Ethan would be gone. And I would have spent the rest of my life realizing too late what really mattered. But that didn't happen, Maria says. You got a second chance. Not many people do. I know. James watches his sons, both of them, laughing in the sunshine. I was the richest man in the city, but I was poor in all the ways that mattered. And Tommy, who had absolutely nothing, was rich beyond measure. It took almost losing everything to see that. Maria pats his hand. The best lessons always cost us something. But you learned. That's what matters. As the sun sets that evening, Tommy, Ethan, and James walk home together. Not to a mansion, though they still have a nice house. But home isn't about the building anymore. It's about the people. Hey, Dad, Tommy says as they walk. Remember when you asked me what impossible thing I was going to do? I remember, James says. I think I figured it out, Tommy grins. I'm going to keep doing impossible things every single day. Little ones and big ones. I'm going to believe that things can get better. That people can change. That love is stronger than fear, and hope is stronger than despair. That's a pretty big mission, Ethan says. Then it's a good thing I don't have to do it alone, Tommy replies, putting his arms around his dad and his brother. And as they walk home together under the stars, I want you to understand something. This isn't just a story about three people. It's a story about all of us. Because somewhere right now, someone is dying who could be saved. Someone is lonely who could be comforted. Someone is hungry who could be fed. Someone is lost who could be found. And you, yes, you listening to this story, you have everything you need to be someone's miracle. You don't need money. You don't need power. You don't need to be special or famous or extraordinary. You just need to care. You just need to try. You just need to believe that one person can make a difference. James Carter learned that wealth means nothing without compassion. Ethan learned that having everything means nothing if you're alone. And Tommy already knew the secret. He knew it when he had nothing but holes in his shoes and hope in his heart. The secret is this. The greatest treasure isn't gold or silver or anything you can hold in your hands. It's love. It's kindness. It's the courage to help someone even when it costs you something. Even when it's hard. Even when no one's watching. That's the real miracle. Not the moon leaf that saved Ethan and Sophia. The real miracle is what happens when ordinary people do extraordinary things for each other. When a homeless boy risks everything for a dying stranger. When a rich man learns to see people instead of dollar signs. When a sick child decides to spend his life helping others who are sick. Those are the miracles that change the world. So here's my challenge to you. Today, right now, think of one impossible thing you can do. One act of kindness that seems too small to matter. One person you can help. One word of encouragement you can give. One smile you can share. And then do it. Because you never know. You might be someone's Tommy. You might be the miracle they're waiting for. You might be the one person who shows up when everyone else has given up. You don't need millions of dollars to change a life. You just need $1 million heart. And I believe you have one. The story of Tommy, Ethan, and James teaches us that the impossible becomes possible when we care enough to try. That miracles happen every day in small acts of kindness. That the richest people on earth are the ones who love deeply and give freely. So go out there and be rich. Not in money, but in the things that actually matter. Be rich in compassion. Rich in generosity. Rich in love. Because at the end of your life, nobody's going to ask how much money you made. They're going to ask how many lives you touched. How much love you gave. How many people are better off because you existed. That's the legacy that matters. That's the treasure that lasts forever. And it starts today. With you. With one small act of impossible kindness. The world is waiting for your miracle. The end.